All right, welcome everybody. It's Unquestionable with Calvin Smith. Have a super special guest today. I have Mr. David Weiss, or otherwise known as Flat Earth Dave. But we're going to talk a little bit about some good arguments for flat Earth, or supposed good arguments on David's end. So, welcome, David, to the show. It's really awesome to have you.
Thanks so much. And I'm probably a little sensitive, but everyone introduces me as their super special guest or very special. I mean, do you introduce all your guests like that, or am I a super special guest?
If I'm being honest, yes, because all of my guests are super special.
All right, that makes me feel better.
If you're willing to talk to me, you're super special to me. So.
That makes me feel special because I'm kind of getting like the short bus feeling when they mention our special guests. So
that's fair. Yeah, but David, I've been hearing about you for a number of years, and I did watch your recent debate with Professor Dave too.
Oh, lovely. That's a great place to start.
I didn't watch it from beginning to end, but I watched
a good
90% of it. I watched. But yeah, so I guess introduce yourself a little bit for those of you who may be unaware of who David Weiss is. What's your pitch to them?
My pitch, keep it as short as I can. I grew up in the East Coast. I'm still here. I went to college, went to corporate America, left corporate America, started my own business, became, more successful than I ever thought I could be. And on the side, I was doing a podcast about conspiracies, which you said you moved away from.
Mm-hmm.
And then Flat Earth kind of came into the mix, and I foo-fooed it like everybody else. Come on, it's obvious. There's so many proofs, science, physics. And then I was forced to look, and I looked hard. And, I don't know, 6-7 years later, here I am talking to you. I left my own company. I do this full time because this is, in my opinion, the most important topic of our time. With all the chaos going in the world, you and I could agree there's a little chaos going on right now.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay. And the underlying reason they get away with it is because people are lost in space, spinning out of control. They don't know where they are. And, before we started the show, you mentioned that you moved more towards atheism. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm currently atheist. When I started with when I was really in my tinfoil hat days, and I would write blogs about alien species and, all these, really crazy things. I started investigating that a little bit more. I picked up a Bible and read the Bible. And by the end of it, I considered myself an atheist. I didn't believe in that God. And, I just read the Quran recently and reading the Book of Mormon, and so far not convinced by any of these gods. And so I applied that same skepticism, that critical thinking that I was using towards those conspiracy theory beliefs. And I dropped a very large chunk of them. And I'm still dropping a lot of them today.
So, when you're looking at all of these books, supposedly from the creator, they've been manipulated by men. Men lie. Nature doesn't lie. So there is all sorts of translations and interpretations, and I never use the Bible as proof. But
okay,
the Bible and the Quran and all of these holy books do have some really good information in them. But then there's just like you said, you read the Bible and then it led you away from Christianity.
Correct.
If you interpret the Bible the way most rational people do, sure, I could see that. Absolutely. So, I was a full-on atheist before I found the truth that our world is not a globe. What is it? It's a plane, an inertial plane in between the toroidal field. Who knows? I'm not claiming that I do know, but I know that it's not a spinning ball, and that's scientifically provable. Then once you realize that, you realize that it's intelligently designed, and that therefore there's a creator. And that's where I draw the line. There's a creator. You figure out the rest. That's your own personal journey. If you want to be a Christian, a Muslim, a Buddha, or just your own spiritual self, that's your own choice. That's your own journey. And I think that's the way this place is supposed to be. Anybody that tells you, if you don't do this, you're going to hell, cool story, bro. Cool story, cool story, bro. Keep it going.
Yeah. So you're not religious yourself right now?
Absolutely not. Religion. I think religion was a means of divide and conquer. You know, if you have you looked into mud floods at all or anything, the Tataria research?
It sounds familiar. I'm sure I took a glance at it at some point, but
So this is stuff that's not deniable. I mean, there was an advanced civilization here 100, 150 years ago. And, you know, all of our story of our history is a lie, you know, it's not a theory. There's proof. The theory is, when did it happen? Why did it happen? Where did the people go? You know, what happened to them? That's all trying to figure out. But there's no question there was an advanced society living worldwide. And then some sort of reset happened sometime in the 1800s, perhaps. And when we came out of it, there was a lot of infrastructure left over. And then it kind of got filled in. And the people that took over, the people that took the castles, they are hiding the truth from us. They're the ones that became the governments, the royalties. And they literally hijacked our world. So our history is so ridiculous. Anyone that's a history major, if you went to college, you're a history major, you wasted all your money. Okay. You wasted it all. So once you understand that that's a lie, and then they divided the countries to divide us, right? Then they divided the countries by states, and then by religions, and by sexes, and by genders, and by sports teams, and, you know, masked, unmasked. I mean, divide. The more they divide us, the more they make us afraid of each other, the more they make us isolated, the less powerful we become. You're a believer, or you understand that when people come together, they're more powerful. Like if you went out and did some activism on whatever on the street by yourself, you've got a certain amount of influence. Yeah. But you go out with another person, it's not, you don't have twice the influence, you have 10 times the influence. You go out with 10 people and it's way bigger. Right. Yeah. So they know that our collective thoughts create our collective reality. Our individual thoughts create our individual reality. And they don't want us to know that. They don't want us to feel that. They don't want us to understand that we're not on a spinning ball corkscrewing through an infinite, godless, or distant God, or no God universe. They don't want us to know that we're at the center of creation. And that means one thing: there is a creator. Okay. Don't ask me who that creator is, because even if I knew, I'm not going to tell you.
Gotcha.
Right. Now that you're the creator, I'm the creator. We're all the creator.
Okay. Now you said they a couple times when you were, you know, going on your spiel there. So who is they? Like, who is, I guess, doing all of this, in control of all of this?
Yeah. So the question is, who are they? On the first level, you have the they that we can see, you know, the United Nations, the Bilderberg Group, Council on Foreign Relations, the whole lot. These are the ones that we know of. These are the secret societies that are within them and beyond them. Right. But I believe these are all puppets for the real controllers of this world. And that's on a physical level. I think that the real controllers of our world live beyond Antarctica. Okay. And if you don't know what that means, and maybe some of your listeners don't, we'll get into that in a little bit.
Sure.
And then there's also a spiritual aspect. I believe that we're here inhabiting these meat suits, that our soul, whatever you want to call it, is in this vibrational plane, and we can only exist here physically. And then there's probably some other lower vibrating souls that don't have that aren't vibrating at the proper level to even have a body. So those are the ones that try to find weaknesses in us and get into us and influence us. And I think that's the reason that we see so much insanity, literally, that's just been happening in the last month or two. People have gone literally insane. And it's because people are stressed and weakened to a point on all different levels, spiritually, chemically, if you know what I'm talking about, you know, financially, and everyone is getting to that point where different influences are affecting them, whether it's in their imagination, whether it's spiritual, or whether people are just freaking out. But that's who they are. It's all of these other influences within us. And then these are the they that we can see. Okay. A long answer. Sorry.
I gotcha. No, so basically all of these groups that you have here, and maybe some other groups that you don't have listed here, are essentially working together to keep this to keep a secret.
Well, that's not
that kind of.
Well, no. It's not. Well, that is their biggest secret, because once you understand, like, we have a thriving flat earth community. It's growing so big. And all of us are aware. We laugh at at what's going on in the world, because that they don't want us doing that. Once you see that the world, that we're at the center of creation, then you understand that there's nothing to be afraid of. We're not running out of land. That's ridiculous. The overpopulation thing. Every family in America could live in a half an acre in Texas, and every family in the world could have half an acre in Australia, and Australia would still be empty. Okay. So we're not running out of food. We're not running out of water. We're not running out of fuel, except, because fuel is another complete and total hoax. We're running out of intelligence right now. We're literally diving into the middle of the movie Idiocracy. And they know that if we wake up, like, let's say the whole world listens to this podcast tonight or whenever it comes out.
Right.
Okay. And they go, hey, Dave's making a lot of sense. Well, the governments are done. They're finished. They've lost all their power. The only power people have is in your imagination. So you create, as I said earlier, you create your reality. And if you think that governments have control over you, then they absolutely do. You just have to not play the game. There's one law: don't hurt anybody else. That's it. The rest are governmental policies and nonsense.
Gotcha. Okay. So I guess, are you under the assumption that that like all the different countries around the world, like, the America and Russia and China and all these different countries all around the world
in it together.
They're all working together?
Yeah, well, think about it. Well, and there are some rogue countries, like, maybe the president of Mexico isn't a game player, right. And maybe there's look at the ones that all have the Rothschild central banks. Those are all under control. I mean, think about this. Do you know about the Antarctic Treaty?
Yeah, I'm familiar with it, with the details of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Antarctic Treaty in 1959 came into effect, where all of a sudden, where's it going? They said, in the 1940s and 50s, we started exploring Antarctica, and Admiral Byrd flew out over Antarctica and said, hey, there's lands beyond the poles. Well, what's beyond the pole if the pole is at the bottom of a ball? Lands bigger than the United States, filled with resources that can fuel the world for a long time. No human is there to displace. There's no wildlife. It's just empty land. And then a dozen countries signed, and now almost every country in the world has signed the Antarctic Treaty that went into effect. It came in 1959. I think it went into effect a year or two later, and it's still into effect today. And it can't even be petitioned or questioned. I mean, infinite resources, and all of the countries in the world sign on and still agree to this day. The only other thing ever that all of the countries have ever agreed upon is getting this in your arm for the boogeyman. Okay, that happened in 2020, right? Everything else, everyone fights for this, fights for land, fights for resources. But there's unlimited resources in Antarctica that nobody is claiming, and nobody can go there. What's going on? Do you think that they're all working together, perhaps?
So unlimited resources. Do you think that there's some sort of precious material in Antarctica that
Admiral Byrd he went on the news, and he basically said that there's land bigger than America, filled with resources. What am I looking for? Here we go. Filled with resources, coal, uranium, natural gas. I forget the whole list. And then he had that one news conference, and then that's it. And then 6 months later, he died in his sleep of a heart attack. Relatively young man, healthy young man. Weird, huh? Right? And isn't it interesting, during his interview, he's got this kind of flat map behind him that has a clock on it. The sky is a clock. They're always showing us what's going on, right? We'll get into that. So we got the Antarctic Treaty, at the whole world still holding in place. How come ExxonMobil hasn't taken out ads on every newspaper, New York Times, and goes, don't you want cheaper gas? Let us break the Antarctic Treaty and go to Antarctica. But no, not one of them has ever tried to break the Antarctic Treaty. No treaty, and no matter how big or small or insignificant or important, has ever lasted this long.
Okay. And
for some reason,
do we have evidence that this stuff is there outside of Admiral Byrd? Like, is there like demonstrable, like empirical evidence that this stuff is there in Antarctica for us to get?
Yeah, great question. And the answer is no, because we're not allowed to go there,
Okay.
right? We're not allowed to go there. So they tell us Antarctica is a continent at the bottom of a ball. Okay. But this is how our world is set up. It's like a giant lake. Think of all the oceans in the world as a circular lake. The
Okay.
shoreline of our lake is Antarctica. Did you know that Antarctica is the highest land on Earth?
Is it? I wasn't
Yeah,
aware.
the base level is higher than all the lands on the world.
Hmm.
Well, think about this. You have a pond in your neighborhood. You have a pond near you.
Yeah.
A pond,
Sure.
a lake. What holds the water in?
The the walls around,
The
the
land that's
ground. Yeah,
higher
the
than the
land around
water.
it. Yeah.
The land that's higher than the water. Large bodies of water at rest lay flat. They need a container. They need lateral pressure. Okay, right? Makes sense, right?
Right.
If you had a flimsy out of ground pool without enough lateral pressure, it's going to burst.
Right.
But this is what Antarctica is. Antarctica is the shoreline around our world. Okay. And this is all the continents are surrounded by water, but all of the water is surrounded by Antarctica. See this pink line? This is 60 degrees south. It's 1,000 or more miles from Antarctica. So you can't even see Antarctica. Nobody is allowed to go beyond that line with extra fuel. You can go on a vacation to this little peninsula right here, which is bigger than some countries.
Mhm.
And there's 100 different companies that you can book it with. But if you do the research on those companies, they're all owned by the same guy. Why does one guy, have 100 companies that allow you to go there? And then when you're there, you're barely allowed off the ship. Then maybe they'll take you over here and they'll show you the ceremonial South Pole, but they won't take you out. Nobody's ever gone south from Santiago
Okay.
and popped up over here in Australia. No one's ever done it.
Okay. So this is a pretty similar. This is pretty much a model that you kind of follow and use to demonstrate. Is this your model of flat Earth that you believe that you're showing?
I'm showing you this is the way that I see the world, right?
Okay.
We're not a continent at the bottom of an ocean, okay? And when people say the ice wall, well, this is the ice wall. When you get to Antarctica, there's the shoreline. It's a cliff, right? And it's up there, okay? And when people think of the ice wall, when people think of where'd it go? Sorry about that. People think, when you go to the edge of flat Earth, you'll fall off. That's ridiculous. Here is the shoreline of Antarctica. It goes on and on and on. We don't know how far it is, right? No one's allowed to go there. No one's allowed to independently explore there. And then there's a couple of reports, but they're always like a royal guy or whatever supposedly went across. And when you look at their details, they could lie better. We look at it and it's like, no, they didn't go across. He went over here, and then he went over here, and he came back. That works perfectly on a flat Earth, right? Let me show you circumnavigation.
So what do you think about people who supposedly work in Antarctica? And
tons of people work in
TikTok,
Antarctica.
There's like TikTok accounts that I actually follow of people like working in Antarctica.
Absolutely. There's thousands of people that work in Antarctica. All right. But they work here. Like, so the base, this is a bad map to show you, but right here, there's a base right here along the shoreline. They work here. This is huge. Look at the size of America. And then, just think of just a tiny little sliver over here. There's a town over here. I think there's a base over here. There might even be another base over here. Okay. But what's beyond Antarctica? What's there? They're there. And everyone, if the Earth was a ball, we should have a 24-hour circling sun like we do in the north, right? And I'll show you, I'll demonstrate that for you in a minute. But we don't. And there's only 4 fake videos. And I'm not saying they're fake. Look at them. They're fake. They're obviously fake. Okay. But here is a guy that was going to get the world's record for the first person that has ever circumnavigated Antarctica. I mean, no, I'm not sorry. Circumnavigated east and west, right? So, I mean, north and south. Billions of people have gone east and west. 0 people have gone south. Okay. So 0 people have gone south. So this guy was going to, what is going on? I am jumping all over the place here. Sorry
I would think just off of that, the reason why people have never gone north and south, my reasoning would be that it's extremely dangerous. You're going through the North and South Pole.
Well, we can talk about that. Well, and that's the good questions. And thanks for having an inquisitive mind. Don't believe anything I'm telling you. Just suck it, take it in, and then hopefully you'll take the time. Here's the thing. My friend Jaron from the Jaronism channel, he always makes a quote that says, if you want to be rich, invent something that'll make people lazier. Okay, because people love lazier. Like, oh,
Sure.
Like, how about DoorDash that'll deliver fast food to you, right? That's what could be more lazy. People do it, right?
That's true.
And it's worth billions now, I think, or whatever. So this guy's gonna make the world record for polar circumnavigation, and so we're like, all right. And they had this whole tracking thing, and he went from the north, he went over here to Alaska, the west coast, over to these islands, over here, Santiago. Then he went to the South Pole supposedly. And then he said, oh, the weather's too bad to continue. So we're going to turn around and we're going to come back up through Brazil and up and around. And we're like, oh, well, he didn't get it. Guinness Book gave him the world record for southern circumnavigation.
Really?
Okay. This is on a flat earth map. All he did was went up here, over here, went over here, went up here. This is all he did. Okay. And he got southern circumnavigation. No, southern circumnavigation is go down here. And the next place I see you is in Australia.
Now, that was going to be my next question about this model here is how do you determine directions? Because wouldn't you think that one person facing east on that model and the other person facing west, I mean, aren't they technically still facing both south because it's facing the ice? Like, which direction is south?
This is, you know what? I have to tell you, when I was like, okay, this guy thinks the earth is a spinning ball. He's going to be a moron. You're not a moron. You're a smart guy.
I appreciate it.
I like this. I like this. I really am liking this. I'm liking this. It's just, there's going to be so much information. And then, and so getting back to the lazy thing, right? Where do I live? Where in the United States do I live?
Oh, shoot. I don't know. Where do the United States?
I told you I live where I grew up where in the United States?
Oh, shoot.
Thinking back, I said the East Coast.
East Coast. That's what it was. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I live in Connecticut. Right.
Right.
So if I asked you, where do I live? Where would you say?
The Northern Hemisphere, Connecticut.
Connecticut.
Yeah.
So is that a belief or do you know it?
Technically,
it's a belief.
Technically, it's a belief.
On something.
Yeah.
Technically, it's a belief on something I said.
Yeah.
And we're looking at each other. Like, if you told me you lived in Ohio, I believe it. Why would he lie about that? Okay. But here's the thing. There's so much stuff we're told and we never verify it. Like a guy in a bow tie who lies tells us that, the earth is a ball. And everybody believes it. So directions. This is a very good question. So at the center of the flat earth, we have our North Pole. I have a magnet here, and this is a compass. And if you could look carefully, the arrow, the needle's pointing to the center. So I'm trying to push this compass west, which is 90 degrees.
Right.
Well, look, I have to keep turning to maintain west. West is a circle equidistant around the magnetic center. Look, I'm going east now. I'm going east. Look at the needle. The needle's constantly pointing to the center. East is a circle. This is the same on a flat earth and on a globe earth. Now, if I try to dead reckon west, so I got that pointer pointing west, and as soon as I start moving, if I don't turn to the right, I'm now heading south. South is every direction away from the center. Every direction away from the center is south. Every straight line becomes south. Now, if I try to go south, right? On a flat earth, on a globe earth, you should be able to just come up the other side, like on a globe. But if I go south, I just go away and I never come back. I don't magically pop up over here. No one's ever done it. Now, if I go north, I'm going north, 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 north. And then as soon as I pass the North Pole, look, the compass just did a 180. I'm still heading in a straight line. I'm now heading south. Every straight line is south. Every straight line will bring you to Antarctica.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying is that, they can be facing two different, I guess we can kind of go this way, is that how can you look into the sky and in some locations both see the same constellation while looking in two different directions?
So there. First, you're talking about looking at the same constellations or seeing different stars. Which one you want to hit first?
You pick wherever you want to start.
So one of the questions you probably have is how come we only see the North Star in the north and not in the south? Okay.
Yeah.
So you and I are in a room, 10-foot high ceilings, and it's got in recessed lights. We'll call those stars, and they're all in different patterns. Okay. And now we spread the room out to 10 miles wide. Okay. Now it's a 10-mile wide room. And I send you 5-6 miles away from me. I can't even see you because due to perspective, the floor and the ceiling have come together and I can't see you. So I call you on your cell phone. You're like, all right, I'm 5 miles away. And I say, look up, describe the lights that you see. And you're looking up, you're telling me about all those lights. I was like, I can't see any of those lights. And you can't see the ones that are around me. Okay. So let me show you how that works. So stars disappear in the distance when they're too far away from you. So this is my app, the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. And if I turn on the stars, so the stars circle around. This is the northern center. The sun goes around once every 24 hours. Let me turn off the stars for a second. The moon goes around just a little bit slower than the sun. The sun will lap the moon. If I speed it up, the sun will lap the moon every 28 days. Okay. Right. So it'll start catching up. The moon is waning now. And after 28 times around, it'll go right back to where it was. It's almost at a full moon right now. So the moon keeps track of the weeks and the months. The sky is a clock like Admiral Byrd had behind him. The sun keeps track of the hours and the days. Wherever the sun is, it's noon. Right, we're heading towards a new moon here. Okay, and then if I turn on, I'm going to slow it down, turn on the stars. The stars are spinning slightly faster than the sun, and they take 365 laps to outrun the sun. So right now the sun is in whatever this constellation here, and then it's moving into Cancer because Cancer is catching up, and then it'll be in Cancer for a month, right? And it'll slowly fade backwards. Now, some people will look up and go, well, it's going backwards. It's like when you're sitting in a car and another car starts moving, you feel like you're going backwards, right? It's very confusing when you look up at the sky, which thing is moving which direction. You know, science wants us to believe that we're orbiting the sun, but the moon's orbiting us in the opposite direction. Everything rises in the east, sets in the west, right? So if I look over here, I'm in Connecticut, if you believe that, and the sun is coming around, rising in the east, setting in the west. In Santiago, it rises in the east, sets in the west. In Australia, it rises in the east, sets in the west. The west is clockwise, east is counterclockwise. No matter where you are in the world, all of the sun, moon, and stars rise in the east, set in the west, right? Okay. But the optics of the sky are no way to prove the shape of the earth. There's a video in the app here. If you hit the web button and you go to the debunking the debunkers, click that puppy right there. And right at the top, the third from the top below the two, not Professor Dave videos, is another Professor Dave video where he says there's a problem because people in Santiago and Johannesburg, Santiago, and Australia can all see the Southern Cross at the same time. And there's only one day a year for 1 hour that happens. And it's fully explained in here how it works on a flat earth. Okay. But the other thing is claiming that the motion of the stars prove the shape of the earth. First prove to me that the stars are even physical and that they're far away. They tell us our sun is 186 million thousand miles across or whatever it is, some crazy number. But then they tell us like Betelgeuse is like 500 times bigger than that. And then there's another star that's 1 million times bigger than Betelgeuse, right? There's stars of all different sizes that we can't even comprehend. How come we don't see stars of all different sizes in the sky? What happens? Are they all just points that they all get down to a point, and no matter how far or how big they are, they stay at that point light size? They lie about, well, the stars aren't even there because the light's been traveling for billions of years. Light doesn't work that way. Light spreads out and gets thinner and thinner and thinner, right? If I was blowing a bubble, it would get bigger and bigger, and then it would eventually not have enough material. That material is the light. Light spreads out. It doesn't go in a little focal point. It spreads out and gets weaker and weaker. It's called the inverse square law of light. Every time you double the distance to a light, it's 1/4 of the brightness. Okay. How do we see stars in the sky? It's impossible unless they're small and close.
So let me get your opinion on this. Astronomy, like people who study stars for
4 years of college in astronomy.
Okay. So what are your, I mean, like, are they just staring at a firmament or something?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, they're staring at stuff. So here's the thing. Unless you can touch it and measure it, you don't know how big something is. For example, here's 4 moons. How big are they? Right. Well, now that the hand touched it, you realize about the size of a baseball. Well, that one's a half moon. Is this one a sphere? Is this one a sphere before we grab it? Quick.
Looks
spherical.
It looks
is
like
it
one,
spherical? But it's not. It's flat.
Okay.
Is this a sphere?
Looks like it.
Looks like
I'm gonna assume.
You're gonna assume that it's not. It's a cup. Okay.
Yep.
So my point is, we don't know. We don't know what it is. And when if you look, they tell us the moon is a dusty, dirty ball. How does a dusty, dirty ball reflect light back from the moon so bright that it casts shadows on the ground that I could read by it at night in the middle of nowhere? Okay. Right. A dusty, dirty ball. Now you have to also remember that the light that's reflecting off of the moon has to obey the inverse square law of light. It has to get dimmer and dimmer and dimmer as it gets farther and farther away. And how is it that it's getting brighter and brighter? If we look at the moon and say, okay, it's 1 lumen on a full moon night. I think it's more than that, but we'll just say 1. And then I travel halfway to the moon. The inverse square law works the other way. Every time you half the distance, it's 4 times brighter. So half the distance is 4 lumens. Half again, it's 16 lumens. Half again, it's 64 lumens. Keep doing that until you're 100 miles from the moon. It would be 64 times brighter than we see the sun. Just to get back to us at 1 lumen.
Interesting.
Okay. When you put their math together in their helio-nonsensical BS model, you realize it's absolute insanity. But people don't know about big numbers, right? They don't teach us about vortex mathematics and sacred geometry or big numbers. Okay?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is that a lot of the things that you're saying, I'm not smart enough to be able to counter right off the top of my
head.
But
but you are smart enough to think about it. And the question is, are you not lazy enough to do it?
So that's the thing is, after this conversation, I'm going to take everything that you're saying now, and I'm gonna go back and look more into it just so I can
and I'm going to show you how to
understand what you're saying.
Right. I'm going to show you how to do that. So another thing I want to show you is, when we look at things, we don't know what the heck is going on. We don't know. What was I looking for? I was looking for something very important, and now it is gone. Here's an optical thing. Can't touch these. Are these the same width and size, these tables?
They don't look to be.
Right. But look, they're exactly the same. Even though I'm showing you this, your eye can't resolve it when I take the paper away.
Perspective.
Okay. Well, it's just how our eyes work. Unless you can touch it and put a tape measure on it, you don't know how big it is. So the sun that we see could literally be this big. It could.
Now, let me ask you, how big do you think that the sun is, and why?
I don't think the sun is a physical object. I think we all see the sun in a unique position. A unique position to each person seeing it. It's like here, let me show you. It's like I believe that the source of the sun is beyond where we see the sun. So what's the source? Don't know. I can't get up there. But when we look at the sky, we can only see so far. So here I have a sheet hanging up in a room, and I have a flashlight about 10 feet on the other side, and it kind of looks like a sun. It's pretty damn good, right? And so this is where we see the sun. So my girlfriend's to the left of me. I said, where do you see the sun? And she goes, I see it there. And I'm like, I went over it. So she sees it there from her point of view, but at the same time, I'm off to her right, and I see the sun there. She still sees it over here. We're looking at 2 different things. Okay. So how big is the sun? I don't know. I think it's this big. Right? How far away is it? It don't look that far away, right?
Gotcha.
It doesn't look that far away to me. So,
No.
when we're told it's 93 million miles away, but we get days like this where we can zoom in on the sun, kind of looks like it's nested in the clouds. Now, do I think the sun
Who
is
took
nested
that
in?
video? If you don't, do
Yeah,
you know who took that video?
I do. His name is it's based on my name, but I've met him personally. I saw the full video. Pretty interesting. But if you flew an airplane over here, the sun's not going to be there. The sun's going to be farther away. You're driving down the road and the moon is following you. The sun is following you. As a kid, you say, "Mom, the moon's following me." And they said, "No, it's not." She's wrong. It is. It is following you. So looking up at the ceiling is no way to prove the shape of the floor. The lights in your ceiling have no indication of the shape of your floor. Okay. So I'm not going to prove to you that the earth is flat. I'm going to prove to you that the earth is not a spinning globe in an impossible space vacuum. Okay. If you had a jar and you sucked all the air out of it, you put the top on it, it's now a vacuum, or as close to a vacuum as you can get. And you turned it upside down and you stabbed a hole in it with a poker in the top. What's going to happen?
It's going to fill up with that oxygen.
It's going to pull the air up and into it until it's same pressure as the whole room.
Yep.
Why doesn't space pull the air up and away from Earth?
Well, I think the explanation of the scientists would be
oh boy,
would be the atmosphere, right? I mean, I don't know. You tell me. What is the argument of quote unquote professionals?
There is no argument. The argument is that that the gravity holds the air down and then it gets thinner and thinner and thinner. Now, I'll give you that. When you go up on top of Mount Everest, it's hard to breathe because the air is thinner, right? And if you have a tank of air, which is a container concealed, a container, on the bottom, there may be liquid gas, and then it gets lighter and lighter and lighter within that container. Okay. So are we within a container? Maybe. Not on the globe, we're not. All right.
Let me ask you about plate tectonics. How would those work on a flat Earth?
So they tell us that the continents are moving apart like 5 inches a year forever, and the mid-continental ridge, is pushing. I call bullshit. Okay. I say none of that's true, and there's no proof that any of it's true. Now, do we get earthquakes sometimes? Yeah. Is there pressure underneath us? Sure. The deepest hole ever dug is 7.5 miles in Russia. And then it gets too hot and too hard. Well, what's going on down there? I don't know, man. I didn't build this place, but somebody did. Okay. So why do earthquakes happen? And a tiny little earthquake, think about this. A tiny little earthquake sends, have you ever been in an earthquake?
Not really. I mean, I felt like little itty bitty shakes. I'm in Michigan, so we're not super close to any, fault lines to my knowledge. So
So tiny earthquake, and this happens. All right.
Okay.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
So tiny earthquake, and that happens. But they want us to believe that we're spiraling through space, right? Spinning at, how fast we're spinning?
Oh, geez. I did, but it's not on my
1,000 miles an hour. Just know that that's faster than the speed of sound. Okay. Gotcha. We're spinning faster than the speed of sound. Well, what happens to water when it's spinning? It's going to go outwards, right? It's going to bulge at the equator, right? Which it doesn't. They tell us it does. Okay. They tell us it bulges 14 miles high, right? Globers now are denying that science has said that. Okay. Well, because they realize 14 miles high is taller than Mount Everest, I think. And planes would have to triple their altitude just to skim over that hump of water. All right. We're orbiting at 66,000 miles an hour. We're chasing the sun at 500,000 miles per hour. Let's put that into perspective. Here's the hypersonic sled track. Google this later, hypersonic sled track, so you could hear the noise. I just don't have sound.
That's crazy.
That went by at Mach 8. Watch this. Mach 8.6. Think about this. Mach 8.6. You have to believe
Flash.
that think about the giant globe with all of the water around the outside and all of the air. Forget the spin. It's spinning, but it's orbiting the sun in an elliptical path, speeding up and slowing down 10 times faster than this. It's also chasing the sun at 100 times faster than this. This is the story that they tell you. This is the story that you have to believe to be a heliocentrist. But when we go out in nature, we see this. Okay? When we go out in nature, we see this. Remember the earthquake? The tiny little movement? Forget all of the corkscrewing through space. When we go out in nature, we see this. Nature doesn't lie. Men lie. Men lie to control. Men lie for their own benefit. They don't want you to know that everything's okay. Everyone just needs to relax. It's all good, right? People are generally good. You're a good person, right? You're probably a good person. You're a good person. And if everybody just obeyed the one law, don't hurt anybody else. Enjoy your life. Do what you need to do, right? But you need to take action for your life. You could say, oh, I'm just going to freaking watch TV and play Xbox all day. Well, your life's going to suck, okay? You got to do something. You got to use this guy right here to manifest your world, okay? Now, when I say a word, you're going to like it. Faith. Prayer and faith. I'm not telling you who to pray for. I'm just saying, put out your intention in prayer. Have faith that if they're good intentions, that it's going to happen. Take action to set that motion, to set that prayer, to set that faith into, something concrete, and then allow it to happen, and then be charitable to others, help other people. If everybody did that, all of our energies, the force, that's the force. The force is us working together, right? Star Wars has a lot of truth in it. The Matrix has a lot more truth in it, right?
I mean, I would argue that, the Bible too arguably has some truth in it, but
I would argue that too, but I don't use it as the proof for the flat earth.
That is good. I have one more, maybe one or two more quick things I just wanted to get your opinion on is dinosaurs. What do you think? Were dinosaurs real? I mean, because the theory is that they were wiped out by a meteor or
an asteroid, right?
An asteroid. So what do you think?
So there's every dinosaur statue you've ever seen or a skeleton is made from ground up chicken bones from China. And the it's absolutely true. Look it up. And the museum will tell you that, the dinosaur bones are too fragile to put out. You're not allowed to see them.
I mean, they're millions of years old.
Well, no dinosaur skull has ever been found. Check this out. From all of our history, from the pyramids to now, however long that is, before dinosaurs, to 1800s, all those mega constructions, no one ever came across a dinosaur bone. Never once. Then some royal guy in mid 1800s writes a paper about dinosaurs, theorizing dinosaurs, peer-reviewed paper, publishes it. A year later, to the day, he and his team discovered the first dinosaur. Okay, that's all I need to say. It's over.
Now, I would say
dragons.
Dragons, like
Absolutely.
Dinosaurs have been found by ancient civilizations and labeled as dragons because they didn't know any better.
I think it's the other way around. I think that dragons, there were giant animals, just not these guys. And I think that maybe one of the reasons they did dinosaurs is because we were discovering bones of giant humans, like a femur that's 10 feet tall, or even 20 feet tall. Okay. And they needed to make up these giant dinosaurs to hide the fact that our history is a lie, right? There's so many reports, newspaper reports, people found these giant skeletons, and then they call the Smithsonian, and you call the police, and they're like, well, you got to call the Smithsonian. The Smithsonian comes and goes, oh, thank you. And they take them away and they dump them in the ocean, and you never see them again. Okay.
So I'm going to assume you don't believe in evolution either.
So evolution is a cool story. I mean, nothing exploded, created everything. All of the rocks turned into planets, and then all of the gases somehow collated into giant suns, ridiculous, leaving a vacuum in between. And then lightning strikes one of the rocky balls and creates DNA, impossible. And that DNA turns into an amoeba that mutates into a fish that grows legs by a mutation and climbs out of the water, finds another mutated, leggy, sexy fish, has sex with it. It has a monkey who has a retarded baby that becomes a human. Okay. No, wow. I don't believe in evolution.
Well, I just got to, that was a giant straw man of evolution. But,
well, no, never in history has anyone seen one animal turn into another animal.
That makes more sense and has a plethora of evidence rather than
what evidence?
A god that we don't know who the god is.
I'm not
created it or something.
Don't use the word God. Don't use the word God.
Creator or something out there.
Maybe we're the creator. Maybe. Here's the thing.
But that doesn't make sense.
If you found a laptop, a Mac laptop computer on your bed, and you'd never seen one before,
right?
Is there a creator?
There is someone who made the laptop.
Okay, who?
Yeah.
Who?
I don't know. Someone.
Okay, thank you. There you go.
Yeah,
someone did. How did they do it? What if it was 1950?
But
okay,
we have other examples of laptops being built by other people, so that's why I would assume that it was built by somebody.
But if you had never seen
any
one
examples
before,
of creators building other planets.
Well, I don't believe in other planets. So let's say we live in an extended plane. Okay, an extended plane, and if you take a small section of that plane, we might call that a planette.
Okay.
Okay. So let me show you what I mean. Let me show you what I mean if I could spell properly. Here we go. So this is the way that I see the world. Whoops, gotta get rid of that. This is the way I see the world. We live here in this pond. The shoreline is Antarctica. So this is 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 miles wide, this little strip right here. Okay. And so we live here and our sun circles around, right? There may be a dome over us. Maybe there's a dome over the whole thing. I don't know. I can't get up there. Right. But then over here, there's other puddles. Right. And there's other worlds. Maybe that's where they live, in the other worlds, in the free lands. Okay. Or maybe our world is set up like this.
And so that's the thing that I was kind of saying, is that it's just kind of maybe,
well, here's the thing. I don't know what's beyond Antarctica.
Yeah.
This might be all that there is, right? Some people that are Bible literate say, well, God created the earth. He didn't say anything else, so there's nothing else. I just say we want a right to go explore. We want the right to make, airships and go explore, but they've demonized hydrogen with the Hindenburg fake, and NASA owns all of the helium in the world, and they consume most of it, and there's always a helium shortage. Okay, they don't want us to explore the outer lands. Now, you're a believer in extraterrestrials, right?
No.
You believe we're here? This is it.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the thing, is that I don't have evidence. I don't have evidence of aliens. We have no other examples of aliens. We have UFOs, but they are unidentified flying objects. We don't know if they're
anything that flies in the air. I can throw a rock in the air. It's a UFO if you don't know it's a rock.
Exactly. So it's like we have no evidence of aliens yet.
Oh, I'm with you. And you see how much they're pushing it in the news. Aliens. So here's the thing. Maybe this is extra land out here, just thousands of miles away. Okay. Extra land, extra territory, extraterrestrials live on the extra land in the outer space, not the inner space, the outer space, right? That's doable. That's scientifically possible versus coming from a distant star, planet, traveling trillions of miles. You know how long a trillion seconds is? Everybody's waiting to hear this because I do this in every show.
No, I actually don't.
How long do you think it is? Just take a guess. If you guess it within a month, I'll give you a Bitcoin.
Oh, Jesus. A trillion. I don't know, uh, 4 years. I don't know. That's all I
Close.
got.
31,000 years.
Oh, you
Okay.
said close.
31,000 years. Now think, let your
Jesus.
mind expand for a second. 1 trillion seconds is 31,000 years. The closest star is 25 trillion miles away. So if you're traveling at a mile per second, which is faster than anyone's ever gone, and you went for 31,000 years, you're 1/24th of the way to the closest star. And you're telling me if aliens came, got here and then they crash in Roswell? Nonsense.
Yeah,
Are they
no,
coming
I
from
agree.
here? Are they doing day trips? Sure. Come in here, abduct somebody, do what you do to their rear ends, and then go back and make it home in time for dinner with the kids. Okay. Whatever's going on, I don't know. But I believe there's more land out there. And again, I'm not claiming there is. I think there is, right? What if the world was like this, right? Let me show you a better view of that. If we go into the app and go down to that image, there it is. So what if we lived here in the center of this pond?
Mm-hmm.
That's the pond. This was the planet, the little puddle in the pond. And out here are other puddles, other worlds across the plane. They're all planets, just a little T after the plane. Planets. Okay. What's out here? We want the right to go explore. In my app, the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app, under the books section, there's a book called The Iron Republic. I don't know if you're a book reader.
Oh yeah.
Awesome,
books, yeah.
Awesome book. It's also, you can get it on YouTube to search The Iron Republic, read by the Morgile. And he read the whole book for you, and he's a really good reader too. He's very good in narration. It's awesome, but it's basically about a politician that was tired of the nonsense here in the late 1800s, sold everything, bought a ship, went to Antarctica, and he found an opening. And then he went through that opening and was lost at sea for a while. And then he came across some more land, right? Maybe that opening was, right here or something. And he came across some more land and found a city. A boat came out to meet them. And he said, this is the Iron Republic, and the story was, and he went there, he lived there for a couple of years. He got married, and then his wife died somehow. I forget what happened. And then he got so distraught. He came back and he told the story here. Now,
so this is supposed to be a true story.
It's supposed to be a true story. It rings true to me. There was evidence, but I didn't get to see it myself. So it's all hearsay. But even if it's not true, people in the 1800s were talking about more land beyond Antarctica. Okay. This whole helio-nonsensical thing is baloney. I interviewed a woman by the name of Ruth in 2020, 102 years old. And wow. She said in school here in Connecticut, in Hampton, Connecticut, they were teaching her about flat Earth in science. That's what they taught. The Earth was flat. Here in public schools in America. So the whole thing, the Greeks figured it out 2,000 years ago. Nonsense. Absolute and total nonsense.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's quite a lot.
So this is my app. You don't have to get my app, but if you go to flatearthdave.com, tons of stuff there. If you want to get the app, it's $3. Okay. And that's it. And you get everything on the app, except if you want to be able to message other people, it's $11 a year for a couple other features. Okay. Because those features actually cost money to use. So you don't have to be a subscriber, but I appreciate anyone that subscribes because it helps support all of the non-subscribers that are using the app. But these are the people just near me that are flat earthers. Okay. Oh, it's growing. If I hit the button on the bottom, this is giving me just a worldview. Do you think flat earth is dying? I don't think so. These are the flat earthers that have my app. There's many more that don't. Okay. Right. Look at the UK. These are people that are waking up. And I've got to tell you, I would say 99% of these people thought flat earth was the dumbest crap ever. They Googled flat earth and they ended up at, Simon Dan and not Professor Dave. And they ended up at these videos that make you think, oh, that person's smart and he's making me sound stupid. I'm not going to believe the earth is flat. They're hiding this information from you. They don't want you to know. They don't want you to know what's going on in this world, because once you do, they lose power.
Now,
They lose
quickly,
power. Go ahead.
just what is, I mean, because like we were kind of talking before the show, I mentioned that I recently watched your
Professor
debate that you
Dave.
had with Professor Dave.
Yeah.
What is your takeaway from that debate? Because I agree that you both had very good points.
I couldn't get any of my points across. That Dave could only make faces, straw man arguments, and he couldn't understand that the argument of seasons, right? Think about this. They tell us it's colder in the winter in the north because we're tilted away from the sun, and the sun spreads over a bigger area.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, you can tilt the ball like at sunrise, sunset. That's the most tilt in relation to the sun, right? In June 21st, which is coming up, summer solstice.
Yep.
We're 3.5 million miles farther from the sun than we are during our winter. But Dave says that doesn't matter. Okay. Doesn't matter. At sunrise in June here in Connecticut, I can feel the sun heat on my face. I get a tan. I feel the heat. I start sweating. It's hot. It's 3.5 million miles away, and it's the most severe tilt. It's coming straight across, skimming across the earth. The most indirect it could possibly be before it goes below the horizon. And I could feel the heat at sunrise. Then in December 21st, at solar noon, when the sun is at the highest point for the day, which is pretty darn high in the sky, I can look at the sun. It's 3.5 million miles closer, and I can't feel the heat on my face. I don't get a tan. That there, when you think about it, completely debunks seasons on the globe. Okay?
Now,
it completely debunks seasons.
So do you think that Professor Dave had any good evidence? Because I mean, I would argue that you both had good points, but
no, because all of his stuff is pseudoscience. He believes men that wrote books that he never met. That I believe that all of these men from history are made up stories. Aristophanes, Galileo made a telescope by polishing glass that could see more detail on Mars than we can see from Earth now with our best cameras and zoom lenses and telescopes. It's absolute insanity. Aristophanes, who did the sticks and shadows, which actually proves the earth is flat if you look at it, he believed that the sun was a distant sun and that we were geocentric, which means the sun goes around the earth. Well, how the hell does a distant sun go around a tiny little earth? Right? They can't even get their story straight, and most people are too intellectually lazy to actually bother looking into it, to actually think about it. Okay?
Now, if you were shown good evidence,
like,
I don't know what that would look like, but
I would absolutely.
Would you change your mind?
If I could show you sufficient evidence that Bugs Bunny could kick your ass in a cartoon, would you change your mind that Bugs Bunny is real?
If you could demonstrate or show me empirical evidence that Bugs Bunny is going to come and kick my ass, I would believe that Bugs Bunny is going to come kick my ass.
Okay, both of our questions are equally valid. Okay, yeah. Equally valid. So you can't, say, if I was shown evidence, if I showed you evidence that I could drop an anvil on your head and it won't hurt, would you let me drop an anvil on your head?
I wouldn't let you.
My point is, I'm trying to come up with ridiculous things. So yes, of course.
You could demonstrate to me that there's a pink elephant that can sing standing in your living room behind you or something, then if you could demonstrate that to me, I would believe you. Like if someone could demonstrate,
it would be great if I had a
Earth is a
pink elephant.
If someone could, I don't know what this would look like for you, but if someone could demonstrate with empirical evidence that the Earth is a globe, would you believe them?
Oh, sure, absolutely. But nobody has. Every test throughout time, Michelson and Morley, Sagnac, the Aries failure, these are all experiments that were done to prove axial rotation and sphericity, and all of them failed and proved the opposite. But they don't teach you that in school, right? All of them failed 100%. So here's the thing: if you Google flat Earth, you're going to get garbage. Like if I go to the debunking the debunkers, right? These are all of the videos that basically take the videos that you're going to Google. You're going to find, hey, top 10 reasons the Earth is flat. You're going to get top 10 reasons the Earth is not flat. Then you go down here and you find the one that's about that. And here it is. It takes it apart. So right here. And we explain to you how you're being deceived. We're not telling you you're being deceived. We explain it to you. We show you empirical evidence. We show you why you see farther, right? We show you why boats go over the horizon. We show you all of that. And so in the app, here's the challenge I have for you. This is a request I have for you. Get the app. It's $3. Don't subscribe. You don't subscribe because you're not going to be talking to flat earthers yet. All right. Every day there's a new video right here. Featured video of the day. Short ones during the week, longer ones on the weekend. Watch it every day for 2 weeks. At the end of that 2 weeks, if you can come up with one globe proof, you win 3 Bitcoins. But before you do, you have to hit the question mark. And the question mark will bring up the top the top questions that you have. They're like, hey, what about the tides? What about seasons? What about ships over the horizon? What about eclipses? If you click on what about eclipses, up come videos that they don't want you to see. You won't find these in a Google search. These are shadow banned videos. And don't believe the videos. Watch them, use your brain, go out and do your own experiments, and then you'll understand what you see, right? You're told the sun is 93 million miles away, 108, well, however gigantic it is, and you believe that you see it, okay? Think about this. All right? So they tell us the sun is a giant yoga ball and we're a marble next to it, right?
Right.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
if the sun was just over the clouds, we brought the sun close to Earth, it's going to fill the whole sky like this, right? You look up, this is all you're going to see is the sun. You with me?
Sure.
And then we move the sun 93 million miles away. Why does it get smaller? Because it's getting farther away. Smaller perspective.
Okay.
93 million miles away. It's now the size of a coin held at arm's length. With me?
Yep.
If I doubled the distance, how much smaller would it get?
Couldn't tell you.
There's two answers. One, too small to see, because it went from filling the entire sky, horizon to horizon, to the size of a coin. If you made it twice as far, you couldn't see it. The other stupid answer is it would be half of that coin size. Let's go with that. We'll give them the Glober best. So if I doubled it, it's now half. It's the size of a small dime.
Right.
And then double that distance. It's half of a, getting smaller and smaller. Make it 24. What was the number? 24 times farther. Okay. That's 3 light hours because it's 8 light minutes away times 24, 3 light hours. And you know what light hour is, right? Light hour is like the distance light travels in an hour because the sun travels 8 minutes to get to Earth. So at 3 light hours away, it's now scientifically provable that you can't see the sun. Its angular size is too small for your eye to see. It's too small. Scientifically provable. Anything below 0.02 arc degrees is too small to see. The sun at 24 times the distance is way smaller than that, but we're just going to go 3 light hours, can't see it. Also, the inverse square law at that distance, it's becoming so dim, you're not going to be able to see it, but we'll ignore that because we don't need it. Then they tell us Polaris is 48 times bigger than the sun. Polaris, that tiny little star that never moves. Somehow we're corkscrewing through the universe 4.5 billion miles a year, and it never moves. 48 times bigger. So what's the equivalent distance to make it unseeable? 48 times 3 hours is 6 light days. Round up to a week. Polaris, at a light week away, is scientifically provable too small to see by magnitudes. And they tell us it's 433 light years away. Your brain just melted. You can't calculate the numbers.
I'm going to be keeping tabs. I'm going to be fact checking you, so don't worry.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
I'm going to be fact checking, but
So here's my suggestion: just get the app, watch the daily videos, hit the frequently asked questions. You can also hit the archive button if you don't want to wait the next day. All of the videos from all of they're all organized in years and months. There's tons of resources in there. The images, check them out, and then do it. Don't believe the earth is flat. Do it. Fact check it. Get yourself a P900, P1000 camera. Go and zoom in on things. Right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't believe anything unless there's evidence to, warrant a belief in it first. So
yeah. Let me show you one more thing before we wrap it up.
Yeah.
So right here, there's no boat out here. So here's the sky meeting the ground. And as we zoom in, we're increasing our angular size. And when we do, we can see, oh, look, there is a boat there, right? The reason you don't see it is not because it's behind the curve, is because it's too far to see. And then these little waves in the foreground will block the whole boat as it disappears. Now, somebody would say, oh, it's going over the curve. It's not. I'm zooming in. It looks like it's going over the curve because that's what we've been trained to think. But it's still there. You just can't see it.
Now, I would say that if the boat keeps going, it is going to disappear. If it keeps,
it's going to disappear because the inverse square law of light and the atmospheric density. You can't see it. Let me show now. So now you're going to make me show you one more thing. Okay. It's all right. It's all good. So here's this is me with my drone. Super clear day, below freezing, no humidity. And I'm watching, and I got the drone up there, and the sun in 5 minutes, it went from up here down, 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 down. Now, if the earth was spinning, it would just keep on going, but it didn't. It stopped right here. Now this is sped up super fast, and it sat here for 10 minutes. My friends at the beach already saw it disappear from the bottom up, but I'm watching it. And as it's going away, not down, I'm not falling over backwards faster than the speed of sound. It can't push through the atmosphere anymore.
Yeah. I've seen that video before. That's your video? You took that video?
I got 7 of them. I filmed it 7 times.
I watched that video, not even knowing that was your video, but I just I don't know how I'll say it. I just don't believe that that's real. If I'm being honest.
Because that's okay. Belief is the enemy of knowing. You don't know that it's real,
right?
So you don't believe.
That's just. I just
my friends at the beach across the water from them 5 miles away is trees that are 100 feet over their head, but they look like they're at eye level at that far away. And so when the sun for them went away, it set below the trees.
Right.
Which looked like at eye level. It all looks like it's at the horizon. That's how the sun sets.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I have on the sunset section, on the frequently asked questions, there's 7 of these videos. Watch them. And the people that said, oh, it's Photoshop, I left in the raw footage. I showed the whole thing. Yeah. Right. But my friends are here.
My friend, like, does anyone else have any footage of this exact event happening?
Somebody filmed it at ground level under certain conditions, which is really difficult to do. But to do this, you have to have a drone. You have to go out on a freezing cold day when there's no chemtrails or anything in the sky, and you have to film the sunset.
We could have a whole conversation about chemtrails.
Yeah. That's a whole nother.
Anyways.
Yeah. And so is anyone else doing that, or is it just me? So far, it's just me. Okay. But there's other, I think other people have to have done it by now. And I've done it 7 times, and I show the footage. So it's all there in the app. It's all linked there. You go to my YouTube channel, DITRH, tons of videos there, all short videos. Try to find the playlist called Sun Fade Outs. They're all there. And so there's no denying. Here's the thing. In your world, you can't believe this, therefore you don't believe it. But go watch those videos, watch the raw videos. You'll see that it's not fake. And the Globers say, you have to wear a solar filter. You're looking at glare. I don't care if this is glare or not. It disappears without going down, right? But I did once with a solar filter, and the sun disappeared. And then I brought it down, took the solar filter off, went back up. The sun was still there.
Okay.
Interesting. Yeah.
Man, we went over some really crazy stuff in this conversation. Just a lot of stuff, not even really crazy, just a lot of stuff that I know I'm going to have a lot to look over. My audience is going to have a lot to look over.
Here's my request for you.
Yeah.
Don't even get the app. Go to flatearthcave.com, scroll down, and there's one that says Flat Earth Crash Course.
Gotcha.
Click that button, and there's a whole bunch of feature-length videos. They're not 5-minute videos. They're longer videos, right? Okay. The first one is called The Next Level. All right. It's a movie that's I'm in it, but that's not why it's the number 1. It's because it's really good. If you watch the first 3, you're going to have a lot of stuff to deal with in your head about your belief system.
All right.
Okay.
You bet.
So turn off Netflix, like, Friday night, Tuesday night, whatever night it is, kick back on the couch, throw it up on the big screen, get it on the TV and watch it. And then you're going to have some questions, man.
All right. I'm going to have to sit my wife down. She's going to have to sit through them with me, but all right.
Just wait, tell your wife, hey, this crazy guy's offering 3 Bitcoins for 1 globe proof.
I have to do it.
Yeah, let's do it, and tell her that you'll buy her a new car or whatever.
There you go.
Okay.
All right. Well, Dave, I had an awesome conversation. I learned, I had a conversation with a flat earther before on my show, and she was not nearly as pleasant as you are. So I appreciate your input and your conversation and things for me to actually take away and look at. So I do appreciate you being a half decent person.
let me tell you something. Flat earthers get really passionate.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
So especially and they get really angry. Flat earthers are really mean sometimes. And
yes,
people, don't be mean. We were all Calvin one day. We were all him one day. I wasn't him. I figured it out really quick. All right, screw you. Okay.
Exactly.
It took me a while. Okay.
All right. But
So,
with that, yeah, David, go ahead and share anything that you want to plug in for my
flatearthdave.com. You can book me there. You can take the Flat Earth Crash Course. You can get the app. You can check out Flat Earth Coffee. Anyone that's a flat earther there, premium coffee with a flat earth label on it. It's fun. It's normal gourmet coffee. You could probably get it at your local bakery, but it's beanery or whatever, but it's really good. And it has a flat earth label on it. And if you want to put it in work in the lunchroom, it's kind of like a subtle way to flat smack people.
I like that.
And it's also nice to have on your own counter. I like it.
That's
I like
cool.
it in mine.
All right. Well, with that, Dave, I really appreciate your time. I'll go ahead and let you go. And I look forward to talking to you again sometime. This will be a good conversation to pick up on someday.
All right, man. And nice shirt. Okay.
We didn't. For those listening, I'm wearing a NASA shirt.
We didn't even get into NASA. Oh my God.
We didn't. That's a topic for a whole nother day. I guess we're just gonna have to talk again. But
yeah. All right, man.
All right,
Thanks.
Dave. Thank you.
We'll see you. Bye-bye.